Following the animation panel on Friday, Disney presented their upcoming slate of live-action films on Saturday. Films by Lucasfilm, Marvel, and Disney Picture were highlighted. John, what were some of the highlights for you at the Saturday panel?
Yeah, this was, it turned out to be a much better and at the same time much worse panel than I thought it was going to be. Let's start with some of the really good stuff. There are 3 studios involved here. You have Disney Pictures, you have Lucasfilm, you have Marvel, all under the Disney umbrella. They led it off with Marvel. And I was just telling Schnepp about this because Schnepp was in Australia, just got back. But one of the things that we saw, you know, Kevin Feige comes out and he talks about Doctor Strange. And they haven't started shooting the movie yet. So he goes, you know, so we don't have any footage to show you. But he goes, you can't come to D23 and not show you something. So what they did was, even though they haven't started shooting the movie yet, their art department is basically done. Like, they have all the high-end art departments, their stuff. So what Kevin Feige did was he took a ton of that art, put in some music, and kind of made like a trailer out of just images, art images. Now, these aren't like stick figure, you know, cell drawings on the wall storyboarding. This was like the high-end art, right? So like right out of the movie. Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange looks incredible. The outfit looked amazing. Chiwetel Ejiofor looks great. And what we learned is they're following, it feels like beat for beat that Marvel animated Doctor Strange movie. He's a brilliant neurosurgeon, car accident, wrecks his hands, breaks himself and bankrupts himself trying to fix his hands because that's all he knows how to do. Then he goes on this pilgrimage around the world trying to find other answers, stumbles across the ancient one, and blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, they confirm multiple dimensional travel, all that kind of stuff. That was amazing. It looked great. It looked great. Then they showed us the Captain America sizzle reel. They had Anthony Mackie come out, and then Captain Rogers himself, Chris Evans, came out. Big pop, everybody was really excited when they saw that. And then they showed the sizzle reel, really good stuff. I mean, I liked it a lot. I wasn't about to cry watching it, like maybe many of us the first time we saw the Star Wars trailer, but it was really, really good. And it wasn't an official trailer. They just threw something together to show it to us because they're still heavily in the process of making this film. But what stole the trailer for me, the sizzle reel, if you will, is like the last 30 seconds of it is just no music, boom, and they find Scott Lang's van. And they open up his van, and there's Paul Rudd sleeping in his van, and it's like 30 seconds of Paul Rudd, Scott Lang, just geeking out that he's meeting Captain America. And I was in hysterics. I was laughing so hard at it. I thought it was a great way to end it off. So that was cool. Then they moved on to the Disney production stuff. And it was far more impressive than I was expecting. Like, I mean, the Alice in Wonderland or Alice Through the Looking Glass stuff. First of all, Mia Wasikowska comes out on stage. Was it just me, or does it look like no human being has ever been more uncomfortable standing in front of a crowd in her life than Mia did? She looked completely uncomfortable.
You weren't at the animation panel on Friday. Some of the directors of Pixar movies, there's a reason why they're behind the camera and not in front of the camera. But it wasn't the best performance by an actor on a stage I've ever seen.
It's like, hi everybody, okay, bye. and you know, the sizzle reel for it, whatever. It didn't do much for me. They didn't have anything to show us for the new Pirates of the Caribbean, which is understandable. They haven't started shooting yet.
Well,
but
they had the guy.
Johnny Depp comes out on stage in full Jack Sparrow garb. He comes out on stage in character, eating grapes and throwing grapes out to the audience, and that was pretty funny.
Oh, it was awesome.
I liked it a lot. But then there were a number of films Disney Pictures has coming out that I was already kind of intrigued by, but really caught my attention. Pete's Dragon, it really looks cool, the approach they're taking with it. They didn't let us see the dragon, which is cool, but that looks really intriguing. The new Chris Pine film, The Finest Hours. I thought that movie had potential, but everything they showed us in that panel, I just ate it up. I thought it looked terrific, like amazing human drama. I walked out of that panel really excited to see that film. So that was another one they had coming up. But the one that stole the show for me, I think the entire panel for me, because it was so unexpected, was Jon Favreau's Jungle Book. It's one of those comments, oh, Jon Favreau's doing a take on Jungle Book. Cool, that could be neat. Favreau comes out and he starts talking about how this movie is going to be the most technologically advanced film ever in history. And we're all like, really? Jungle Book? And then they bring out Lupita Nyong'o, and then they bring out Sir Ben Kingsley, and then they bring out this little 9-year-old kid who's playing Mowgli, he looked so adorable when he came out to do that. So then they're going to show us the reel, and Jon Favreau, before they play the reel, goes, remember, we shot all this in Los Angeles. And then they show the trailer. And I'm telling you, visually, my mind was blown. I loved it, especially the snake, voiced by Scarlett Johansson. Like, that snake looked like one of the most amazing CG things I've ever seen. I was just in awe of it. I am now, it is the one coming out of that panel the film I am most excited about now, that, you know, how much it built my excitement, I should say. Obviously, I'm looking forward to Star Wars more, obviously. But that brings us, and I want to get your impressions of the whole thing too here in a second, Mark, but that brings us to Lucasfilm. And remember how Kevin Feige came out and said, well, I can't, even though we haven't started shooting the movie yet, you can't come to D23 and not show anything. Apparently, the memo didn't get to Lucasfilm. Because here's the thing that bothers me. Lucasfilm showed us Jack Squat, okay? And what that maybe wouldn't have bothered me
Is Jack Squat
much.
a new character?
Yes. being played by Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen's character is Jack Squat. That's his
His
name.
lightsaber just never works. Don't worry, Squat's got this.
Jack Squat again?
This never happens. Let me try again in 5 minutes.
So it wouldn't have bothered me as much if they had led off the panel with Lucasfilm. Let's start things with Lucasfilm. They bring out J.J. Abrams, and they had the new young cast, so Oscar Isaac, John Boyega, and who's Ridley?
Daisy Ridley.
Daisy Ridley
and
came out.
Lupita Nyong'o. Yeah.
And then they do this thing and then they show this new poster that they could have just put out on Twitter. So they show this new poster, like, oh, wait a minute. There's one person on this poster who's not out here on stage. Of course, Harrison Ford, the crowd loses their mind. It was the biggest pop of the afternoon. So Harrison Ford comes out on stage. And that's cool. And then they announced Colin Trevorrow, which again, they could have done in a tweet. They show one group image of, looks like a publicity shot for Rogue One. And look, if you're not going to show us anything, that's okay, I guess. Didn't lead off the panel. Like, they had, you end strong. You know, you have your fastest runner run the final leg of the relay. And by the fact that they opened with Marvel, then Disney Productions, you felt like, I don't know, I was sitting there in this thing thinking they're going to do something huge. They're going to do something huge. They're putting Lucasfilm last, they're going to be doing something huge. And they did nothing. And here's the thing that bothers me. If Disney seems really hell-bent, and I love Disney, and I love everything that Disney does. Everybody knows this. But Disney has been trying to convince us that D23 is a real viable alternative to Comic-Con. This is their Comic-Con. This one's going to blow your socks off. And I'm sorry, but they went out on a whimper. I'm never going to D23 again. I haven't been gone the last few years. They convinced me this one's going to, this one. And you go, and the thing that everybody's looking forward to most, Star Wars, your biggest announcement has nothing to do with the movies. It's about another theme park. And I'm excited about the theme park. Don't get me wrong. Very excited about it. That has nothing to do with the movie. And so I was really disappointed by that a lot, to the point that, you know what? I could have stayed at home, saw the tweet of the new poster, saw the tweet of the new cast photo, and I would have been fine. Very cool that I got to see the other sizzle reels, but color me unimpressed. I was unimpressed overall, even though a lot of those films I'm really looking forward to. Anyway, Mark, I've gone on here. Some of the highlights, things that stood out to you about that live action panel.
I have a different take on the Lucasfilm panel, and I might just have the Luke Skywalker blast shield over my face because of this, but at the very least is what they did at D23 2 years ago with Star Wars, where they teased that maybe there was going to be, oh, okay, and they played the music that you heard Darth Vader breathing. You're like, what are they going to bring out? And then they did nothing. And then it was just literally a teaser. They can't show that. Then they cut to 5 minutes of Disney's Bears, and we're like, wait, what the hell about Star Wars? This at least proves this, and to some extent Comic-Con too also proves that even when Star Wars comes somewhere and they don't have footage to show you, they are still going to go all out for their fans, doing whatever they can do. So if they can't throw footage at you, you can be damn sure they're going to throw as many images as they can, or a poster, or Harrison Ford on stage, who got not one, not two, not three, 4 standing ovations at various times during the event. And then the theme park announcement was so cool because you knew that they were going to plan something like that. Cool. The fact that they're doing 2 expansions of Disney World and Disneyland that are the biggest land expansions in the history of Disney, it just made me want to stay alive until 2020, whenever the hell this thing's going to open. They didn't give us a specific date, by the way. But Star Wars is under more scrutiny than even Marvel, and certainly Disney live action when it comes to what the footage looks like. So if their footage is not ready to go, I would rather them not show it to us. us. It sucks that I went to D23 and didn't get to see new Star Wars footage, but I'd rather have it be like that than see something from The Force Awakens that they didn't want to show us yet. And by the way, Entertainment Weekly did a lot of stuff on Star Wars The Force Awakens last week, and I don't need to know everything about this movie, okay? I don't need to know every spoiler. I don't need to see every image. Again, when the new trailer comes out, I'm going to be watching it. When the Rogue One teaser comes out, I'm going to be watching it. I thought we'd get a Rogue One teaser. I was bummed we didn't, but if they're not ready to show it to us, please do not rush it. Trailers are art, and I want to see them presented as such, like I saw with the Jungle Book stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Wow.
I lost my mind watching that Jungle Book. As soon as that is online, you have to rush out and click, or I guess stay in your apartment, and click that button to watch it. It is mind-blowingly awesome. The vocal talent, the way the effects look, the way the Panther and Shere Khan, Idris Elba as Shere Khan, Christopher
He sounded
Walken
so great.
as King Louis, and Bill
That
Murray
was the best moment.
as
That was
Baloo.
the best moment.
Christopher Walken?
Yeah.
It is so great to see all of these people that you're like, oh, I wonder if they could get this guy to be this voice. And it just looks like it's all coming together so
And
well.
what's the line? What's the line to do? Because you just see the orangutan's hand, right? The giant orangutan's, who are you? And you say, I'm the king. But I can't do Christopher Walken. But
yeah.
in the most Christopher Walken doing Christopher Walken voice, I'm the king. It was just hilarious.
And with all the greatness that had the Jungle Book, I think that maybe as big of a pop, if not bigger, was just the announcement when they started talking about Beauty and the Beast live action.
Oh, that's another big one.
When
yeah.
you saw Emma Watson in that yellow dress for the first time, you could hear girls shrieking, and that was actually me. She looked just like you would expect Belle to appear.
Yeah, she did.
And then you also got to see a little bit of Josh Gad and Luke Evans. And there's some behind-the-scenes stuff they showed, a tiny bit of footage, and then Josh Gad and Luke Evans, who none of them were there live. They're actually on set filming right now, I believe. They sang a few bars from one of the classic songs from the Disney animated film, and it's like these guys were born to play these roles. So I like that. And then, yeah, the Civil War footage was awesome to watch. The one concern I have about the Civil War footage is at the very end, and I don't think this is giving away too much, is when Hawkeye and Black Widow are kind of tussling, and Black Widow looks up and says, hey, we're still going to be friends after this, right? And then Hawkeye says something, and it's kind of like that jokey vibe you got from Avengers Age of Ultron when they're all together, except they're not all together. They're actually fighting each other. And I'm watching that, and I'm like, okay, well, what is this? Is this a scrimmage? What are we doing? What are the stakes of this? Are these superheroes? Are you actually trying to murder one another because you're fighting right now? So is this just practice? Or what are we... I don't understand what is going on here. I'm sure more of that is going to get explained, but I don't just want to see superheroes practicing in the X-Men training room for 2 hours before they go fight Thanos. Like, this better be a real storyline that we get here. Having said that, the Ant-Man stuff was amazing.
Oh,
the
that
one
was so
quick
funny.
shot of Black Panther, seeing Frank Grillo back as a threat to Captain America and his
Crossbones,
team.
yeah.
I think the Russo brothers are the right guy to be doing these movies now. I just need to see a little bit more as to why we're joking around, but we're still fighting at the same time.
We're still friends, right? Yeah, dinner Saturday. It was kind of off, but I'm so glad you brought up Beauty and the Beast because I forgot. Because one of the things I've been wondering about is like, can some of these guys really, really sing?
Mm-hmm.
And the Josh Gad, Luke Evans, they start singing some bars from No One, whatever, at like Gaston. Oh, what a guy, that Gaston. They start singing that. Josh Gad can sing.
Oh, yeah.
He can sing. And Luke Evans sounded great too. But that highlights for me, because they're still shooting Beauty and the Beast right now. They don't have a trailer to show you or whatever. So what do? They put together a package that they could show us to just kind of whet our appetites. They didn't have anything from Doctor Strange. So what do? Let's get some story art together and put some music to show it. What did Star Wars do? Nothing. And I'm still really bitter
They're
about
building
that.
2 theme parks for us, John.
No, but
Two theme parks.
Dude, they could have showed something from Rogue One.
Hey, I
Like-
got a question. They
Yes.
got Star Wars theme parks. Can you get drunk at the Moss Eisley bar?
Yes.
I'm going to
You
get
can actually
hammered
drink.
on blue
Yes.
milk.
Here's
Yes.
what it is. And this is
Wow.
pretty cool. But what they're doing is it's like Mark was mentioning, the largest theme land expansion they've ever done. It's going to be 14 acres. And what it is, it's this one particular outer rim planet that looks like a cross between Naboo and something else more, but a little more outer rim, right? And the way Iger described it is like when you walk into this land, you will feel you have walked into Star Wars. The streets will have droids and alien creatures walking around. Every bar and restaurant will be cantina themed with like a cantina band and all this kind of stuff. They're going to have like a Millennium Falcon simulator.
You know, the full Millennium Falcon, you can actually walk onto the Millennium Falcon. Like, the entire ship is going to be built, and hopefully there's an open mic at the cantina.
And here's the key thing. It is going to be new era based. So they didn't see elements of the rebellion and the empire. It's elements of the resistance and the First Order. So that's one thing to keep in mind, but it did sound amazing. So yeah, color me very interested about that, but they gave no date. So it's just theory right now still. Like, is this in 3 years or in 15 years? When is this coming? They gave us no idea when it's
Just
coming.
eat a lot of fruits and vegetables because you're going to want to be alive. To
What's
see
that
this.
Daniel Day-Lewis movie? Just stay alive. Yeah, that's now
Shia
the
LaBeouf, just do it.
to gotta stay alive that long now until it comes out.